Welcome everybody. My name is Sarah Reynolds and I'm part of the scholarships team at Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society. We'll go ahead and get started now. Here at Phi Theta Kappa, we administer 13 programs during the fall cycle, and they're all administered on one application, the PTK scholarship application. The fall cycle deadline is 5 p.m. Central Time on December the 1st, and you will hear us mention that several times throughout the webinar today because we want to be certain that you take that date and time down. During the fall cycle, we typically have around 40,000 applications that are started. However, only about a fourth of those students will actually complete an application. Once judging is completed in early 2022, we'll recognize over 300 scholars in the spring, awarding more than $600,000 in scholarships from our PTK Foundation and donors. Regarding the PTK scholarship application, if you haven't already done so, start your application today. Don't wait. Apply at scholarships.ptk.org. Take the 15-question eligibility quiz to see what scholarships you might be eligible for this cycle. And if you are eligible for scholarships, the application will then open for you. If you started your application earlier this year, make sure you log back in to update it as needed. You might need to add an updated transcript or submit a new letter of recommendation. Maybe you've got some new activities that you'd like to add to your application as well. The fall application tab was added on August the 1st of this year. So regardless of whether an application was completed prior to this date or not, it's still required to be considered for all fall programs. So if you haven't visited your application since earlier this year, please certainly log in and complete that fall application tab as soon as possible. Keep in mind, there are no planned deadline extensions this year. So again, December 1st at 5 p.m. Central Time is the deadline, and we do not plan to have any deadline extensions. The application has been open since March, and we have a tight schedule and deadline that PTK staff must meet to get applications into judging before we close for the holiday break. So here's some key things to remember. The deadline again, 5 p.m. Central Time, December the 1st. And if you live on the East Coast or the West Coast or a different time zone, here's a tip. Be sure to adjust your calendar or maybe even the alarm on your phone so you don't miss that deadline and time. And at this time, the assumption is that you understand the purpose of the programs that you're applying for. But if you don't, take a few minutes and do that. I promise that it will make a difference in the completion process for you. You can visit ptk.org and click on the scholarships drop-down tab to learn all about the different scholarships that we offer. Don't assume that just because you put your name on the application and you're a member that you'll be selected. These are merit-based programs, and they're not automatic scholarships, so some effort is required. We do have programs for all types of students, so full-time enrollment, part-time enrollment, international students, any age, any major. This can be a very large application, so it will likely take several hours for you to complete, so don't wait any longer. If you haven't started that application, begin this afternoon. There are a lot of fields that are required in the application, so putting information in all fields provided results in a more competitive application. So unless, of course, you're entering not applicable or zeros for some of those required fields, that doesn't count. If you've waited until the last minute, there's a chance that good writing habits are going out the door. So don't let the poorly written application be the reason for you not being selected for a scholarship. As always, we encourage you to proofread. Have someone else proofread and then proofread again, check over it again. You can't proofread too many times to make sure that your application is correct. So what things do you need? Here's some ideas. You need time, you need data, and you need uploads. You're a typical college student. We know that you're very busy and you've waited until the last minute maybe. So now what? We've said it once and we'll say it again. There will be no extensions, so use your time wisely. 5 p.m. Central Time, no matter where you live. You'll need data. Know how much time you've spent on volunteer activities. Know the dates, what you did, who the leaders were. Maybe you were even the leader. Spend a few minutes capturing that information because data matters, especially when you're talking about what you did, the who, what, when, where, and why. And uploads. An unofficial transcript showing your most current grades and GPA, a citizenship document that matches the citizenship status that you've selected in your application as well. So there are actually 3 uploads that you'll be required to submit. These items are housed on a very secure server and they're destroyed after review for your safety. If you can't get your citizenship documentation, you can request a placeholder by emailing our team at scholarships@ptk.org. But be advised, though, that if selected as a scholarship semifinalist, you'll be required to provide this at a later date. So that placeholder is temporary. We only accept 1 letter of recommendation. Judges have requested this to keep all students on an even playing field. So make sure it's relevant to the contents of your application and make sure that you're following the instructions by only providing 1 letter of recommendation. And so speaking of letter of recommendation, let's just talk a little bit more about that. It isn't necessary for the recommender to be a member of the faculty or the administration of your college. That's a commonly asked question, and it's not necessary for them to be a faculty member or part of the administration at your college. However, they must be able to verify and further elaborate on your leadership skills related to your significant endeavor essay. We'll be talking a little bit more about the significant endeavor essay in a few moments. To get the best letter possible, you need to provide the recommender with ample time and sufficient information. The recommendation will be much better if the writer has time to really think about your leadership skills and the contribution that you made through your significant endeavor. In addition to your endeavor essay, you might want to provide an explanation of the award criteria and a copy of the advice regarding letters of recommendation article from the Scholarship Support Library. You can go to support.ptk.org and click on scholarships and review the article that tells the recommender what to write about. We can have one of our staff members put that link in the chat box for you now. While the main focus of the letter should be your endeavor, it's always good to provide additional background information. Also, be sure to follow up with a thank you note. Gratitude is always, always a good thing. So how many of you like a good story? I know I do. When telling your story on this application or any scholarship application for that matter, you need to be authentic. Be honest and genuine in your responses. Don't just say what you think we want to hear. We want to know about you in your own voice and in your own words. You need to be specific. Give details when possible, such as how many, how often, and how much. This is especially important in the volunteerism section of the application. Remember, volunteer activities can be either campus or community activities. We recommend including as many ongoing activities as possible instead of one-off events. So in other words, serving in a soup kitchen or a food pantry once a week during the semester looks more impressive than participating only once. If you organize the event, be sure to tell us that. Always look for ways to showcase your leadership, even if you don't have an official title. We absolutely want you to tell the truth, but it's just as important to think about how you say something as it is to tell us what you say. One student who has already submitted their application answered one of the discussion questions in one sentence. They said, "I'm trying to do better myself with a degree." While that is a great ambition to have, judges really need more details than that. The student only wrote 9 words, when the application requirement was a minimum or a maximum of 250 words. Write to the word count or as close to it as you can possibly get. Now's not the time to be modest, so brag on yourself. When this same student was asked what their career goal was, they answered this one in just 5 words and not even a complete sentence: to get an associate degree. Again, while this is a great goal to have, it tells our judges nothing about what you want to do with your associate degree, what your passion is, or what you're working towards. The sweet spot is showing the judges where your passion and your involvement collide. What you're passionate about should be evident in your choices. Show the judges how your passion comes to life in the major you've chosen, in your activities, and in your volunteerism. You also need to tell a cohesive story. The entire application needs to connect you to your intended major, career choice, volunteerism, and even your significant endeavor. While these things may not align perfectly, think about the transfer skills. Find a way to relate the experiences you have and the skills you're learning now to your future goals and aspirations. And it's not too late for details. So let's talk about details and displaying your passion. And I have some good news for you all. It's not too late to add details to your application. Passion plus involvement equals your story. Explain what you're passionate about. What does your passion intersect with your involvement? Focus on that. Focus on where it intersects with your involvement. Tell us why you choose a major and how it ties into what you want to do within your career. Identify a need within your community and problem solve to come up with a solution. Talking about all these things within your application should support what you say in your endeavor essay. Tying all these things together within your application and essay will strengthen your application. Kristen, what can you tell us about the significant endeavor essay?
All right, we have a lot to talk about with the significant endeavor essay and a few other things today. Now, we've mentioned this a few times. You've heard Sarah say this. You might be asking, what is a significant endeavor? Well, we have an article that helps to explain this in our scholarship support library, and you can check that out after the presentation. We can also have one of our staff members type that link in the chat box in the Q&A box for you. But put simply, you should find a need, take the lead, and do the deed. In this 500-word essay, it needs to explain how you identified a need in your community, your society, or even your school. Describe how you took the lead and determined a solution to the problem. And then finally, explain how you implemented the solution. We'll talk a little bit more about the details that go into that as well. Now, this essay is known as the centerpiece of the application, and it's the most heavily weighted portion of the application. So needless to say, this essay really is key to your success in obtaining a scholarship. The endeavor could involve an intellectual challenge, a research problem, an ethical dilemma, a barrier, or something that just impacted you personally. Now, judges do consider originality, initiative, degree of difficulty, results, and any benefit to society as a whole when they're reading these applications. Now, your endeavor can also be a part of a group activity such as college project or honors in action. However, if you do choose to write about this, you'll really need to stress your leadership roles in this project. This is your scholarship application. This isn't your chapters. Don't be modest. Like Sarah said, tell us what you did. You specifically, how did you make the project work? The essay, it does need to be about one specific endeavor, not a list of random tasks that you've accomplished. The key word is random in that. If the tasks are related to a specific goal, then that's completely fine. For example, if you shouldn't write one paragraph about your involvement in honors and action, and then another about how you helped with college project, and then a final paragraph about how you organized and planned an induction ceremony. But if you had a leadership role in those 3 components that we previously mentioned, and that all connects to the same goal, then that would work out perfectly in you talking about that in your endeavor essay. You'll also want to include some data about the impact of your endeavor. Judges want you to quantify your outcomes so they can see the whole picture. Now, one final note on this section. Sarah mentioned it, and I'm going to mention it. Read the directions, read the prompts. There are several specific questions mentioned in the prompt for this essay, so be sure to address each one of them in your answer. Now, how do you position yourself to win a scholarship? Let's talk about it here. You need to finish strong, have what you need at hand to complete your application. Tell your story without it being a sob story. How did you overcome that obstacle that you may have mentioned? You can use it, and you can use that obstacle to help others avoid it. Tell people how you can help others avoid whatever obstacle was in your way. Don't write like you waited until the last minute. I promise you, judges can see through that. Create a cohesive app from start to finish, matching your goals with your academic pursuits in areas where you serve. And if you have any negatives, turn them into positives. You know, some students have mentioned that the pandemic has hindered their ability to volunteer, and we completely understand. When asked how you volunteered your time during the pandemic, don't say what one student told us. They responded, I didn't. I didn't volunteer. And it was simply 2 words, I didn't. Talk about how the pandemic has challenged you. Think about your leadership skills, how it's challenged you to think about those leadership skills and your involvement, your engagement at school, even your engagement with your PTK chapter. And finally, let your recommendation not only mirror what you say in your application, but let it expound on what you've written. The recommender can talk about your application as a whole, but specifically within your essay, they do want to mention details about your essay. Okay, time for some real talk here. This is these next 2 slides are actually real judge feedback straight from our judges before or during and after the judging process. Here's what they've had to say when they were judging some applications for us. Some positive and some not so positive feedback. Like for the first one there about PTK activities, one judge said, now, while not a chapter officer yet, the student has demonstrated her ability to work with others, offers suggestions, and has a strong desire to lead. Okay, that's some pretty good feedback. Now, on the flip side, for another scholarship applicant, a judge wrote to us, chapter position is checked, but there's no supporting evidence of initiating any type of action to substantiate her role as chapter president. So as you can imagine, the judge wasn't too thrilled with a student checking a box saying they held a leadership role in their chapter, but they then provided no evidence that they were ever active in that role. And if I had to guess, the judge's scores probably mirrored their feedback here. Now check out these comments regarding the significant endeavor essay. This one says, the applicant has a very moving story, but just didn't answer the questions. So yeah, that's a big one. That probably reflected lower scores. And same with this one. She should have had someone proofread the essay. Lots of grammatical errors. Now, like Sarah said, proofreading is extremely important here because judges are looking for well-written essays as well as well-written applications. So it's never a bad idea to proofread your app once, have someone else or multiple people proofread it, since you're very close to it, and then proof it one more time. Now, we also received some positive feedback from the essay prompts. This next one here says, great essay. Challenging endeavor with long-lasting impact. Details illustrate impact. Clear alignment between the student's career goals and the endeavor that positively impacts their community. So see, details are very important here. Now, real fast, comments on volunteerism and leadership aspects of this app. Understands service, yet shows no activities. Only 2 activities, no leadership in either. Provided examples of service and leadership. Needs more details around the impact of his activities. So you already know what I'm going to say. It's all in the details here. All right, now after the judging process was over, we received some more comments and feedback from our judges. So check this out. And as you can see here on your screen, a common theme among the feedback is that students appear to be rushing through the application process without stopping to ask for help. Now, grammatical errors and typos are easy to overcome when you start your application as early as possible. Don't wait to the last minute to finish the application, and have a trusted friend or a family member, a teacher or advisor read your application and provide feedback for you. Now, they also noted that several applicants didn't appear to have any guidance when completing the application. Now, while the pandemic has had so many of us disconnected from in-person education and interactions, technology is a wonderful thing. Obviously, you guys are on a Zoom webinar today. So schedule a Zoom call with an advisor or perhaps with a teacher. Take advantage of resources available to you online. Speaking of which, we have tons of those. We have tons of scholarship resources for you. Utilize these when completing your application. They're located in our scholarship support library. Just type in support.ptk.org into your web browser, then click on scholarships. Now, some of our popular articles are What is a Significant Endeavor Essay, advice regarding letters of recommendation, as well as the All USA Applicant Guide. Now, along with some tips and best practices, we also have a recent webinar on PTK scholarships with an FAQ follow-up session. Now, early next week, I think Candace or Laurie had mentioned that earlier, we're going to have this webinar posted in the support library for you to reference at your convenience before the December 1st deadline. So there you go. You've gotten some of our best last minute tips and advice that we can offer. If you have any questions after the session is over, feel free to contact us. We're real people. We answer the phone, we answer your emails. You see us right here on the screen. Now, because we are less than 2 weeks out from the deadline, our response time might be slightly delayed as our phone volume increases as well as our email volume increases. It's going to be a significant change over the last several months. We have students contacting us, we have advisors contacting us, as well as nominators for these programs. But we are here to help though. So the best way to get a timely response from us is to send an email to us. And that email is on your screen at scholarships@ptk.org. We're a small but mighty team, so we promise we'll get back to you and your question. We answer all of our emails in the order in which they're received. So if you don't receive a response within 5 minutes of sending one email, please don't send another. We promise we're going to get to you. All questions and emails this time of year, they're important and they're urgent. So I promise, give us a little grace, give our membership team a little grace. We're all going to get back to you. So that kind of concludes everything. So what questions can our team here help you out with? We still have several minutes left to talk about it. Chat live here.
Yes, and if possible, Kristen, there were a couple of things that I'd like to cover that I saw some questions about, just general membership questions. We actually have some eligible students that haven't joined yet, but they're thinking about it. And of course, we know scholarships, it's our most popular benefit for why members join PTK. But just to talk to you all, for those of you that may be considering joining Phi Theta Kappa, I would like to just give you a little bit more information. Who are we? What is PTK? You all have heard we're an international honor society, and we're legit. As Kristen said, we're real people that care about you, and membership is really at the heart of our mission. Our goal is to recognize and celebrate you and create opportunities for you to grow academically, professionally as well. And we have so many resources that we offer to you. Some things that I really love and appreciate about Phi Theta Kappa is participation within your chapter is optional. I saw some of you said mentioned in the chat that you were single mothers or you work full time. So we get it. Life happens. We all have various circumstances. So within Phi Theta Kappa, it really is a build your own experience organization. But like anything else, what you put into it is what you get out of it. And by no means, please don't be overwhelmed by the things that you've heard today or the things that you've seen. As Sarah mentioned, this is the time to really be creative. This is the time to brag about yourself. So whether it's volunteer experience, whether it's something you do regularly, maybe it's something you do at your job, you still have leadership experience, you still have service experience, and you've worked really hard because, hey, you've been invited to join our organization. So we know that there's something. So we definitely don't want you all to get discouraged. These are just some great tips for you and our scholarships team. They're available to help you at any time. If you have received your invitation and you haven't joined and you would like to, you can go to join.ptk.org, and that's where you would enter the special passcode that you've already received. If you don't know what that is, you can reach out to your chapter advisor. That's likely the person that actually sent you your invitation, or their contact information should be on your invitation, and definitely take advantage of your invitation to join us. You've worked hard, so you deserve to be celebrated. And for our new members as well, our membership team is here for you too. If you have questions outside of scholarships, please don't hesitate to give us a call or email us at help@ptk.org, or call us at 1-800-946-9995, and we're happy to help you as well. Now, any specific scholarship questions, we will send you to the scholarship team. Kristen is there, Laura is there, Heather, Sarah, all of them are ready and waiting to assist you. But for your general membership questions that you may have, you all can always contact us and reach out to us. Thank you for taking this step to join us today. We really appreciate it. Thank you to the scholarship team. And we will open the floor for additional questions that you all may have. So was there anything in the chat that you all would like to highlight?
Laurie, have you seen any common questions we've gotten so far?
Can't unmute.
There she
Can't
is.
unmute. Oh, wait. I'm having a technical problem. My computer's locked up, so I can't see the chat.
Okay,
You may have to look. I've got a
let's see.
getting some help here. See,
While she's doing that, I did see one question with regard to the letter of recommendation. Again, I think a student was asking who could write that letter of recommendation. So just to reiterate that, it doesn't have to be someone on like a faculty member or an administrator of your college. It just really needs to be someone who can elaborate on your leadership skills or something that's related to your significant endeavor essay. So it could be an employer or maybe someone that you've worked for in the past, or maybe someone that you have volunteered with in the past as well. So again, it can really be anyone that can speak to your leadership and maybe what you're talking about in your significant endeavor essay. So I hope that answers that question for you.
Hi, Sarah and Kristen. This is Heather.
Heather.
Hello, everybody. I've been looking at the chat and I've seen a couple of questions that I see kind of have been coming up a bit. And I think one is, and forgive me because I was answering questions, so if you've already answered this, but I see several people asking about how do you answer the volunteerism section when you haven't done much during the pandemic?
Well, we understand that because obviously that affected all of us. So especially within I think it's the activity section for PTK members, talk about like how you anticipate helping. Now we understand lockdowns affected us all, some in more ways than others, depending on what part of the country or what part of the world you were in. So definitely just talk about things that you have done, things that you hope to do within your chapter, within your community, within society, even if you want to go that far when everything opens back up. And I see something that just popped up immediately. Does church service count as volunteering? I think that can. I mean, if you're doing things within your church, whether it's teaching Sunday school or oh goodness, volunteering with the choir. I mean, I think you can do that. Anything that's not a paid activity would go under volunteerism. So I think that you could certainly do that as well. Sarah or Heather, did you have any points to add?
Another thing I believe I saw as well, and something that I wanted to clarify for the students who are participating who are planning to transfer to a four-year college or university, there may be some questions about those scholarships and how you can earn scholarships from the four-year college. And so just to clarify, the scholarships that are on our fall application that we've been discussing this afternoon are what we consider our internal scholarships. So those are scholarships that we administer here through Phi Theta Kappa. The four-year college scholarships are funded and administered by each participating college. So they get to determine the eligibility requirements for their scholarships as well as the recipients. So you would actually apply for those scholarships through the admissions department at your college, or maybe the financial aid department at the school where you're interested in transferring. And so PTK Connect would be a wonderful resource for you if you haven't visited yet. It's ptkconnect.org. It's a free online platform. It's one of your member benefits, actually. So definitely take advantage of that. We do list all of our four-year colleges and universities who provide scholarships for our members, but we also have very helpful transfer tools on PTK Connect as well that really helps you through that transfer process and what it looks like. So so for any of you who are planning to transfer, I hope that that helps.
Thanks, Sarah.
Sure.
So I see another question that I'm seeing through here, and maybe this is something, maybe Candace can help a little bit with this one too. This is maybe kind of a two-parter. So the first one that I see is, there's a lot of people who are saying, can a brand new PTK member actually earn these scholarships?
Sorry, I'm back now. Can a new PTK member earn these scholarships? Was that the question, Heather?
Yes, like a
Gotcha.
brand new, like a person who maybe doesn't have as much PTK experience, but
Yeah.
maybe they're experienced at the community college, as in they've done leadership activities or you know what I mean, things
Yeah,
like
I know,
that.
absolutely. And I was actually going to say too, this there are a few scholarships on this application that do not require PTK membership. Obviously you're gonna fare better with a membership, in PTK because you will have more to talk about. But you don't have to limit yourself to just talking about PTK activities in this application. While we do encourage PTK membership and volunteerism within the chapter, it is not required. Talk about what you're doing in your community and other clubs on your campus. It's perfectly fine to talk about things other than Phi Theta Kappa. We have independent panels of judges that do judge our scholarship applications. And so they might be familiar with other types of clubs when you mention like a high school student that's also participating in Beta Club or you can name a few other things. But certainly you don't necessarily have to have all of the PTK volunteerism under your belt to earn a scholarship from us.
Yes.
Especially on this fall cycle of applications here.
Yeah, and so the second question or the second piece of that is I do see some students who are perhaps wanting to join PTK, and the questions that they're asking are related around benefits. And so I know that scholarships is a benefit, but Candace, I didn't know if you wanted to take a moment and maybe talk about a little bit of the other benefits outside of scholarships that are offered to PTK members.
Sure, I can do that, no problem. So for our members, they have immediate access to the benefits that Phi Theta Kappa has to offer. Just to name a few, of course, we know scholarships are one of our most popular benefits that we offer as an organization. But just to give you an idea of the membership process, so once you accept your invitation to join, and you pay your membership fee, after that, you first receive your official Phi Theta Kappa packet. And this packet includes, I don't know if you can see this little pin, it includes a membership pin, a free graduation tassel. And that's really just to show you that we know that you're going to succeed and reach your goal of graduation, because that is a benchmark for everyone. That's a goal that each of you have, and your official certificate as well. So along with that, some other benefits, we do offer our EDGE courses. These are our developmental courses that we offer for members. So you have 5 different EDGE programs that you can participate in, and with each completion of each of those self-paced courses, you do receive a badge that show that you have officially completed these courses, and it really is a resume builder. But not only does it appeal to four-year institutions, but it appeals to employers as well. So if you're looking for jobs, we have Employment Edge. If you're looking to go into healthcare, we have Healthcare Edge. So those really help you to really map out your process as you matriculate in your academic tenure. Another benefit that's really popular is our Connect program. So they've mentioned PTK Connect a couple of times. One of our newest Connect opportunities is PTK Connect for Business, where employers have access to our members. And so if there are specific candidates that they're looking for, then they can access our members to find candidates for specific positions that they have. So that's something that we're extremely excited about. It's one of our newer programs because we know not everyone is transferring to a four-year institution. When you do finish, if you are looking to transfer, then you're definitely looking for a job. But those that are looking to go directly into the workforce, those types of programs are extremely beneficial to our members. And of course, that sense of engagement in community on a local level, but also on the international level. We have so many members throughout. Again, we're an international organization, so we have chapters in all 50 states, as well as some of our other regions and countries as well. So you really have those networking opportunities so that you can engage with other Phi Theta Kappa members. Some special benefits, some of the small things, but to me, they really mean a lot. We all love discounts. So we also have our corporate partners, such as, Geico, Enterprise, Bank of America. There are some special benefits that you get with our corporate partners too, and some specific discounts that you're eligible for just for being a Phi Theta Kappa member. Recently, we had one member to share that she saves a few $100s on her car insurance now, since she joined Phi Theta Kappa. So I always think that that's really interesting to hear because, again, it's a small investment for a lifetime of benefits. It's a one-time fee. You don't have to pay biannually or annually. You pay once for a lifetime of benefits. And those are just a few. So if you have more questions, if you need more information, definitely reach out to us. You can reach out to your local advisor as well to see what's happening locally at your chapter. What are some things that you can get involved in there on a local level? And then always visit ptk.org and you can click our benefits section to see just some more benefits. And one thing I also encourage is to kind of plug in. Check us out on social media. That's really where we highlight real people that are members and the things that are happening in their lives from various backgrounds. So those are a few things. Hopefully that gave you all an idea. Did that answer your question, or is that what you had in mind, Heather?
I think that's great. Yeah, there's
Okay,
just some
good.
comments of people who say that they're new here and kind of
Yeah,
like, what is PTK and what
yeah.
are the benefits for me? And so I think that's a great idea.
Um,
Is there a slide that had the discount code on it? Because I've seen several people asking for the discount code. So I thought maybe if
Yes.
there was a slide, you could put that back up for
Yeah,
folks.
y'all just, I'm going to go through here really fast. So y'all get to see it all in reverse.
That's right. That's
All
right.
right, we're going back here.
So another
Yeah.
question that I'm seeing a little bit is people are asking like if I'm transferring during this term or I'm going to be at a place in the spring or the fall or whatnot. They're not sure when they should apply. Can you talk a little bit more about like the differences of the programs there that we administer on both the fall deadline and the
Yeah.
spring deadline, and like kind of what the typical student, like where they would be in their enrollment and when they should apply?
Yeah, sure, of course. Basically, again, it is like Sarah had mentioned, it is one scholarship application that we administer year round. It typically opens in the spring around early March and it stays open through December 1st. We have two scholarship app cycles, one in the spring with a deadline in mid-May and the other with the December 1st deadline, of course. And then for the scholarships that we administer in the spring, so from about March to May, those are scholarships for brand new PTK members with very little experience under their belt, with less than 36 credit hours completed at the community college or in the associate degree program. And they plan to stay at the community college for at least another year. Those are the scholarships that the spring cycle is geared towards. Now, the ones that we're looking at right now, that what this whole presentation has been about, those are our fall scholarships. Those are the scholarships that we administer during the fall cycle, essentially. And those are for students that have at least 36 credit hours or more completed under their belt, with plans to either transfer to the four-year college in this coming up spring 2022 or fall 2022. We also, of course, have scholarships that are for students going into the workforce, graduating in that same time period. So we have scholarships for a little bit, pretty much anybody, but the ones, we'll go back to the ones in the spring. When the ones that are administered in the spring cycle, they go through judging over the summer, and when those scholarships get paid out to students, directly to students, by the way, they do not get paid out to colleges, they go directly to students, and they're paid out usually before the fall semester starts. And so the students have that money to help pay for their associate degree. If they need to put it in a savings account and save it until they transfer, they can certainly do that. And then the same goes for the students that are going to be recipients of the fall scholarships that we have open right now. We'll have judging completed in early 2022, and we'll have our final selections and verifications done and start notifying scholarship recipients from this application. Hopefully before March 1st, we're going to put that as our goal. And we will let you guys know if you receive a scholarship. You'll receive an email from staff members here at PTK. And again, scholarship checks are sent directly to students. We don't send the money to colleges. We let you have the money and you spend it for however you need, whether you need to put food on your table, gas in your car, buy books, pay for housing, whatever your need might be. So those are the fundamental differences, but it's essentially new students for the spring cycle, students with plans to transfer or graduate in the near future for the fall cycle.
Thanks, Kristen.
Yeah.
If I
Another
missed
question.
anything, yeah, Sarah.
No, I was going to say I saw some earlier questions with regard to how to submit your application. So I just wanted to quickly point out that once you have completed all of the tabs that are running across the top of your application, they'll turn green. And so you may have also noticed a status bar that just lets you know what % of your application you've completed. And so obviously you want to get to 100% application completion, and you want all of your tabs to be green. So that means that your application is complete. At that point, you don't have to submit anything to us. We'll automatically get your application after the December 1st at 5 p.m. Central deadline. So they're automatically provided to us. There is a submit button on the final page of the application. So if you just feel more comfortable clicking on that blue submit button, we completely understand that, and you are perfectly fine to do that. You don't necessarily receive a confirmation email or anything like that letting us know that we've received your email, but all you need to do is just make sure that it says at the top of your application that it is indeed 100% complete with all green tabs.
Sarah, that's perfect. You actually anticipated my next question, because I've had several people that say, how did they know if their application had been received? So that's perfect. So I have seen a couple people that had some things that asked about fees. And I just wanted to share that you do not have to pay any fees to apply for any PTK scholarship, and you do not have to pay any fees to use PTK resources like PTK Connect or such, as long as you are a member and have paid that one-time membership fee. There are no other fees associated with the benefits that we offer. I've seen several questions also as well, people asking if the application only has one essay. Is anybody able to expand on that question?
Yeah, actually we can. Technically, there is only one essay. It's a 500-word essay, and it's the significant endeavor essay. We'll go back to that slide here while I'm talking about it. But there are other questions. We call them discussion questions on the application. Those are a little bit smaller word count, like 250 or less typically, but there is technically only one essay. Again, significant endeavor essay, 500 words. You want to write as close to the word count limit as possible. Like, you don't want to leave fields blank. You want to write as many words as possible, not just for the essay, but the entire application. But just trying to think, there are 2 discussion questions briefly on the applicant info tab. And then we have a few other things we ask about, in whether it's volunteerism or activities as well.
Thanks, Kristen.
Welcome.
I know you also talked about the difference between the fall and spring, but I see several people asking for like minimum credit numbers to apply. I also know that credit, and again, forgive me if you talked about this, but that credit question is a little like hard sometimes on the application. Can you talk a little bit about the credit requirements? Yeah, talk a little bit about the credit requirements for the spring and the fall, and how to calculate those question.
Let's talk about how to calculate that. That is one of our most asked questions recently, about how to calculate the number of credit hours. Some people use credits, some use hours, some use units. Like, a terminology is different for every college, but students ask how they need to answer that question. Now, when we ask on question 2, of course, I don't have that right in front of me, but there are 3 sections to that question, and it asks how many credit hours you have completed as of 3 milestone dates. It's not asking you how many hours you're taking this semester, last semester, over the summer. It doesn't use those words. It does say, how many hours did you have completed as of January 2021? How many did you have as of July 1st? And how many will you have as of December 31st? So we're looking for cumulative number of credit hours that you have completed by those dates. We do advise students to look at their transcripts. A lot of times those transcripts are broken down into semesters, and you can figure out how many hours you've completed. And if you need a little help figuring that out, we do not mind helping you out with that. Send us a copy of your transcripts to scholarships@ptk.org. We're happy to take a look, calculate to get you the right answers or responses that need to go in those fields for question 2. But again, for this fall cycle, students need to have completed at least 36 credit hours by the end of December. And you need to be enrolled in a minimum of 6 hours at the time of application. So those are 2 stipulations by all of our donors for these fall cycle programs. Oh, and one other thing I need to mention as well, for question 2, whenever you're answering those milestone dates for January, July, and December, your responses to those questions should never decrease. You're never going to lose hours. If it's cumulative number of hours we're asking for, the numbers are always going to go up, not down. So you're not going to go from, I had 6 hours completed as of January, I had 40 hours completed as of July, but then I only had 12 completed as of December. You would never do that. You never lose hours, you only gain them. So that's another way to help understand if you're answering the question correctly.
Kristen or Sarah, is it okay to apply with a prior bachelor's degree, or are there any age limits or anything like that with the application?
I'll tackle both of those. And Sarah, I know Sarah's looking at it too. There are no age limits. We've had students as young as 12 get a scholarship. Last year we had a scholar that was 74 years old. So no, there's no age minimum, maximum, nothing. And for these scholarships, the fall cycle, you do not, or you can have a previous degree. You don't have to have one. It does not matter. For the spring cycle, most of those scholarships, because they're for new PTK members, students should not have a previous degree, but the degree options are limitless as far as this fall cycle goes.
And did you talk a little bit about it all, like how many scholarships are awarded and what we have available through the fall award? I thought maybe it might be kind of cool to go through maybe some of the awards that we give and how much money might be available.
Sarah had mentioned just briefly in one of the opening slides, there are 13 programs that are administered on the fall cycle of this application. Now we do have closer to 25 for the entire PTK scholarship application, but yeah, there are 13. The most prestigious one would be All USA Academic Team. We also have the New Century Scholar Programs for transfer and workforce students, and then the Coca-Cola Academic Team. Those all fall under the All USA umbrella, and they do require nomination by your college. Each college campus has a designated nominator, and they are allowed to choose up to 2 transfer pathway students and 2 workforce pathway students to represent their college campus. Now, those are the nomination-based scholarships that members and non-members can apply for. But we also have scholarships that are specific to PTK membership, which is why we encourage you to become a member if you're not already, because you do have access to more scholarships here. We have the Geiswhite scholarship as well as the Heights transfer scholarship. The Geiswhite scholarship, we do have 15 awards of $5,000 each, and then the Heights scholarship, there's 10 scholars at $7,500 each. And I forgot to mention that earlier with All USA. We have the top 20 students in the nation that represent All USA. The New Century programs we are going to look at the top scoring student in every single state, as well as sovereign nations for both transfer and workforce pathways. And then Coca-Cola Academic Team falls under that umbrella as well. And there's 150 scholarships just for Coca-Cola Academic Team. And there are a few other scholarships as well. Some are specifically for STEM majors in the state of Mississippi. We have regional scholarships as well, I believe, in South Carolina. Oh goodness, there's one for stage production majors. There's several others that I'm forgetting right now, to be perfectly honest, but those are our big ones, of course. And the All USA program, with everything that falls under it, with New Century and Coca-Cola, of course, are kind of the most popular ones that we hear about. But Geiswhite and Heights are a pretty strong second.
And I think it's important to note that, I mean, we are literally administering hundreds of scholarships. So they're varied. So everybody has the potential to be a scholarship recipient. So let's see. Do any advice or anything you want to share? I had a student ask a little bit about like what we mean when we ask about the like the criminal record part of it. Does that going to immediately prevent them from being considered for a scholarship?
No, and Sarah knows this too. Like, no, it's not going to preclude them from being considered for scholarships. We certainly have that question on there, of course, and if you do come up as a semi-finalist, you will probably get an email from one of our staff members. We just ask, like, if you answer the question as no, my criminal background is not clear, then we'll just ask just for a little more detail, and that's strictly because our judges are going to ask us that too. But no, it does not automatically disqualify you whatsoever when it comes to our scholarships. But we don't be surprised if we do ask for a little more information. But that's it. we do have that question on there, but no, it does not exclude you from applying for our scholarships or even receiving our scholarships.
Excellent. I think that's most of the questions. I'm sure there are some individual questions. This might be a great time. I see we have 5 minutes. This might be a good time to wrap up, and let's be sure to share the email address for scholarship as well as for membership, because we can take these questions offline. If you didn't get your question answered, you can shoot us an email, and someone will respond.
That's exactly right. Yes, definitely. If you have any membership related questions, whether it be about benefits or anything like that, certainly reach out to our membership services team. Their email is help@ptk.org. We'll have somebody type that in our chat box. Again, help@ptk.org. Their phone number is 1-800-946-9995. And if you have any specific scholarship questions that Sarah or Heather or Laurie or myself can help with, certainly send us an email at scholarships, that's plural, scholarships@ptk.org. Again, I mentioned we're a small but mighty team. We do have a lot of emails coming in, but we are working through them and we're going to get your questions answered. So if you did not get your question answered today, like Heather said, we are certainly here to help you. Send in those questions and we'll be sure to get to those. And I think Heather mentioned too, this is being recorded, correct?
Yes, it's being recorded, and give us a couple of days. We will edit it to make sure that it looks good and everything. And then we will put it both on the support.ptk.org page. And I believe we will also try to email it out to everyone who registered for the event.
Yes. And I believe I saw a couple of questions earlier asking if they could download a copy of this PowerPoint. We do have a copy of this that we could also send out if a student wants it. You can always shoot us an email to scholarships@ptk.org and we could get you a copy of this PowerPoint presentation today.
Well, thank you, everyone. And please remember December 1st to have your applications completed, because if you don't apply, you can't receive scholarship funds. So thank you, and everyone have a great night.